everybody, and welcome to the Ris3n Replay cast. I'm joined here once again by my co-host, Wrath. How you doing, buddy?
Couldn't be better, man. Still recovering from the cold, but another day down, and hopefully making a good full recovery here in another week or so.
Well, I'll tell you what, dude. Your voice does sound healthier day by day, so you're on the path to recovery.
I'm working on it. It was actually funny at work today. I had so many people comment on it. They're like, dude, you should just leave it that way. Just because of the silky smooth deepness of it. It's like the sensual chocolate, the tingles that they were getting. I'm like, you know what? I think you're onto something here. Maybe we should just stick with the cold, make this a 24/7 situation. I don't know.
You gotta trademark that for your voice, the sensual chocolate. Well,
Absolutely.
Anyway, we've got a few matches for you today. First off, we have a ZVT from submitter Jay. She sent us a ZVT. And then we actually have two ZVTs on Blue Shift, as the second match is Gamerrichy versus a Zerg named Lurker. And again, Gamerrichy is a Grandmaster, so I'm really excited to get into that one. A quick note.
Can't wait to see it. I want to see it myself. I'm always just like, this is for me. I'm doing this for myself, man. I want to see that game. Can't wait to get my hands on it.
When we got the GM submission, I was like, oh, we're spoiled. We're spoiled. Just a quick note about our third match, which was going to be SunTzu. He did send in a replay, and it is a very good ZVZ, honestly. However, unfortunately, it's from the old patch, which means that we can't watch it as a party, which makes casting it together, at least right now, fairly impossible. So I think we're going to be skipping over that match just for this evening, but I'll talk to SunTzu. Maybe I'll do a solo cast of it, or maybe we'll just get a different submission from him from the most recent patch.
I mean, if I know SunTzu, he's going to churn out great games. Left and right, right? I mean, every day that guy's online, he's playing high-quality games.
Yeah, and
I mean, you played against the Zerg. I mean, when's the last time you played against the Zerg? Because I know he's pretty solid, right? I mean, he's gonna have good games all the time.
And he's a player that's not afraid to mix it up and get a little crazy, which I think is very conducive to some entertaining StarCraft.
Yeah, absolutely.
So awesome. We are going to load up into our first match, which will be Jay's replay.
Let's do it.
So again, thank you, Jay. She sent us this replay. It is a ZVT on Blue Shift. Actually, both of them, like I said, are TVZs on Blue Shift. So I hope you like ZVT, Wrath. we've had a lot of it over the last 2 days.
Yeah, no, I know, but it used to be. The funny thing is, I used to play Terran. Right, I used to play a lot of Terran. I was a mech Terran way back in the day.
Oh, I didn't know you were disgusting mech Terran.
I was. Dude, I loved it. I missed it so much. But that was one of my favorite matchups. Was TVZ. I really, really enjoyed it. It's one of my better performing ones. But things have changed since then.
So we have switched over into the Gamecast, and we are beginning. Wrath, introduce our players.
Absolutely. On the bottom left, we have. What is that? I'm so bad with colors. It's like blue, right? We get the blue.
Yeah, it's blue. You're not that bad.
Dude, I can never tell the colors, but it's like, is it light blue? Is it baby blue? What the hell is it? Anyway, so on the bottom left, we have JS Subs. And then in the top right, in purple, we have Owen, our Terran player.
So just a quick note, anybody in the chat, we should be coming through, we tested out the audio levels. If you do notice something, please do not be afraid to let us know, and we'll make the adjustment. But
absolutely,
getting into this game, Blue Shift is a map that is one of the new maps, and it's one we didn't get to see yesterday in that big, long ZVT series. I think most people would agree that compared to its partner Redshift, it's a lot better. What do you think of this map, Wrath?
Absolutely. I actually like this map. This is one of my favorite maps of the new pool, actually. Fracture LE is a map I perform on a little bit better, but I think this is a quality-wise way better. I love that middle section where, you've got all that tall grass you kind of can't see, and it causes some really cheeky, interesting plays that can kind of come together because of it. But a lot of the action is kind of around, where you see the watchtowers on either end. There's just a lot of action that happens, and those are really important zones to control as the game moves on.
Well, speaking of action, Wrath, we already have a proxy barracks going down down by this this fifth base location, and this is actually a really cheeky build because the barracks goes down in the main, so even if there's a drone scout, it doesn't necessarily look like the build it is. And those are the kind of builds I like, honestly, is the ones that are cheeky but don't look cheeky.
Well, right, because you see there's a barracks in the main as well, right? For the purple Terran Owen. So it's like you scout it. You're like, oh, okay, I see the barracks. Not that you can get in the base anyway, but you see it. You don't think much of it. But now look at this bottom now in 3 barrackses with the reactor add-on. Oh
Yeah.
man.
I mean, and Jay has opened up with a very standard Zerg build, right? Got the fast expansion with the fast gas, is getting Ling speed. And so she's not necessarily going to be unprepared for this, but it's always tough to deal with an attack like this that you just don't know is coming.
You can never truly prepare for Terran nonsense. I mean, it's getting worse every day. What happened to the days when you just built inside your own base? Now, Terrence, just I'm going to put the starport up here. I'm going to put the barracks down there. I mean, you never know where the heck anything's going.
We're gonna have to start calling you the back in my day Protoss, dude.
Yeah,
Back
no,
in my
it's so
day,
true.
we built our units in there. We built our buildings in your own damn base.
Right, that's what we did, man. But now these new young guns, they're like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to build this stuff in my base. I could just fly it back. Okay.
So a defensive bunker coming back at home for Owen wants to be prepared in case there are lings that, try and break into your main, which is a concern whenever you proxy, right? A few lings can go across the map, and if you don't have anything there, I mean, you're not prepared. And there is a bunker coming out outside of the natural. 6 overlords coming in with a small supply block. I mean, I think this could do a decent amount of damage as there's no real units in position besides these queens.
Oh, those queens are going to clean this up easy. I mean, there's no question about that. Oh, and another SCV comes up to help out with the bunker. Maybe. Is that queen going to fall?
First queen does fall. The bunker is getting close to completion, though, but the bunker may go up, but those Marines are completely zoned, and no, it won't go up.
It's just adding a little pressure, right? I mean, that's all that I think Owen's trying to hope out of this at this point. More Marines are coming out. No, he is committed. He's definitely committed. He's got 4 more Marines at home.
And a smart call, I think, from Jay, realizes that she's held the brunt of this attack, throws down that third base, doesn't want to let it, economically inconvenience her too much. But we see across the map, we have 4 more Marines and 2 SCVs headed across.
Yeah, no, Owen's definitely committed at this point, and I think Jay, she's doing a good job trying to prevent it. I would like to see some roaches, something with a little bit more beefy armor to try and, in case the bunker does eventually come up, just to be able to break it back down. You want to try and transition into Ravagers, give you something with a little bit extra range.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, whenever there's proxied bunkers out on the field, I feel like you want something with a little bit more power. But, I mean, with only 1 bunker up, I feel like you don't necessarily need Banelings, although she does have the Baneling nest about halfway done, so that will be a tech that is available to her.
Yep. The Marines are kind of pushing. Owen is losing a lot of those Marines, though, and that's costly. I mean, every Marine just kind of...
But at the same time, so many lings getting committed in, and they are all going to go down. These queens trying to hold strong, but they don't have any transfuses left, and they're starting to go down. And I think we might have seen a small swing in favor of Owen now with all those queens going down. Spines will be ready, but it looks like he might be able to start getting some damage done.
Yeah, that was huge economic damage that Owen inflicted on our Zerg player here, and all this. Finally, those colonies are up. Those spine prowlers, those should have been up a little bit sooner. But I'm glad that they're up now. Maybe is that base gonna fall?
I think that if she unburrows and gets the spines a little bit farther forward, maybe one at a time, which it looks like she is doing the smart play. Actually,
they're the
Banelings. Owen needs to try and micro against this. The Banelings are coming in wisely, I think, kind of kiting back, as he knows you can't push into Banelings on creep. That's just not something you want to do on pure Marine.
No, you absolutely don't.
Oh, huge Baneling hits the bunker, and almost all the Marines going down. This will not be enough to take out these queens and spine crawlers, as that queen with like 16 HP stays alive, and I think that Jay has held this.
Oh, absolutely. What a hold. Great job, Jay. Hats off. I mean, now I'd say the game is solely, completely in her hands right now, right? I mean, look, she's got 3 bases. She's got some more Zerging production. She's got more workers, 38 to 20 workers. Well done.
Yeah, at the same time, across the map, our Terran player is getting a CC up, so he is, to be fair, still forcing out units, making sure that the Zerg is a little bit off balance while, securing a little bit of economy of his own. And you can afford to, in ZVT, be down on a base for a little while.
Yeah, especially when you have still Marines coming in. Going to be taking out that Spine Crawler as it's trying to burrow into the creep. No, it falls. And a couple of Queens are falling too. These Queens, as good as they are, they need to have support by Zerglings or Roaches or Banelings. And here come the Banelings.
Oh no, here come the Banelings on a clumped up pack of Marines. A lot of them go down, but all the Marines get exploded by those Banelings. I may be a Protoss player, but I love me some juicy Baneling hits.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a bad Baneling hit, right? I mean, that's the thing. Unless it's like a ZVZ, then okay, maybe sure. But otherwise,
it's always going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, especially when they get dropped on your mineral line with Overlords. Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah, absolutely. Baneling's a very versatile unit. Meanwhile, Jay has taken a substantial supply lead. The second base is established, and Stim is on the way, but I think that she can really start to be able to drone up that third base. And once you really get 3 bases mining as a Zerg player, that's when you can really start consistently cranking out units and really start to take trades with your opponent.
I like how Jay is just spreading that creep all over the place. I mean, it's like making up for lost time. How many creep tumors is that? What, like 10? It just kind of went down all over the map.
Yeah, and I mean, whenever you have the those bunkers at the front of your base, one of the things that it does do is it severely shunts that initial creep spread, which obviously the Zerg player wants to get out as quickly as possible. So I really think it's... Oh, actually, another battle going on the side of the map. It looks like a few Lings and Banes will be traded for some Marines, but Owen does not look like he wants to press the issue, and I think that's wise, as there's still a bunch of Queens, there's still Spines. I just don't think that this army has the longevity.
Has Jay found those barracks yet? I don't think she has.
So checking the vision, it does not look like she's seen it yet. I feel like she probably knows that there is something somewhere, though maybe she's assumed that it got lifted off, but Owen hasn't. He's just still cranking out Marines out of reactors, on the other half of the map, going full Mario here.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, it's just an economic game at this point. Now Jay is going to be taking her 4th base, taking her time. She knows she's got the economic advantage, and she's going to push it. Excuse me. Meanwhile, on the other side, you've got Owen. I mean, Owen is just trying to, get back in the game, get the economy churning, get those mules out there, try and make some marauders and some tanks to help punish those banelings, and you're going to need lots of.
So the layer tech is coming up, so she will have access to things like speed banes, speed roaches, and then maybe a spire or hydras. But I mean, taking a look at the army supply, it actually just swung in her favor again as she makes 16 roaches. But I mean, 3 tanks, a decent amount of bio. If he gets these 2 medevacs, there might be a pretty scary push that might be able to come out as those barracks finally are forced to return from whence they came.
Yeah, get off my lawn, right? I mean, that's the story here. Look at this. I mean, talk about creep tumors. Look at all those creep tumors that have been queued up.
Yeah, I mean, there is going to be a substantial amount of vision, and even beyond the vision, I mean, engaging as a Zerg player on creep versus off creep it's really a night and day difference.
Yeah, and it looks like Owen's going to be preparing for some sort of attack. Medevacs were loaded up. Nope. No hesitation there. Decides to unload them again and drop them on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like as a Terran player, often, especially when your medevac count is low, it can be a tough decision on, do I want to push and do one big attack with the full brunt of my army, or do I want to split some of it off and maybe do some dropping? So a little bit of indecision on his part, but I mean, it's tough. It's a tough call to make, because if you load up too much, you'll just lose the fight anyway.
Yeah, especially if you're behind a little bit too. I mean, every decision you make when you're behind just becomes that much more critical, right? You can't afford to take any more losses. You need to start making some gains, and if you make a wrong decision, that might be all she wrote.
Absolutely, but here it looks like she might be wanting to get a little bit aggressive, as we have a bunch of roaches heading across the map. Banelings being morphed in, roach speed and baneling speed finishing up at about the same time, and I think that especially if he's running away with 4 medevacs full of units, that's a fight that she can absolutely take.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of creep tumors are on this map. I think the creep tumors alone at this point could inflict some serious damage.
Jeez, yeah.
Look at that. That's incredible. I love it.
So
oh my
much
gosh.
creep all over the map, and he is going to be coming at a bit of an angle where it looks like he actually has 2 medevacs split off towards the top and 2 towards the bottom, so maybe a little bit of multi-pronging, but with all this creep, you can maneuver your units across the map so quickly. Looks like these 2 medevacs are going to be dropping into the 3rd base over here, but at the same time, it looks like aggression is coming down.
Yeah, let's see. It looks like she and up the top as well. So a 2 multi-pronged attack, as you were saying. Jay decides to go ahead and pull her units back. Zerglings are coming to swarm around the tanks. Oh, and the tank does get picked up. The medevacs are going to get away.
But on the right side of the map, though, that hatchery does go down.
Oh man, this is actually a pretty productive drop.
Oh, very much so. I mean, whenever you start mixing it up into double drops, you really get it's more than the sum of the parts, right? A double drop is better than 2
main
single
base too. I mean, Jay's like, hey, look, my army's out of place.
Wow.
I'm just gonna push into your main and just take it down. The natural does fall for Owen.
So many SCVs. And actually, that will be the GG called, as he realizes there's absolutely no way to deal with that Roach Hydra force.
Yeah, it's just too much, right? I mean, the damage that Owen did to his defense was pretty substantial, but too far behind to be able to come back and deal with that big Hydra Roach army in the main.
Absolutely. So we have actually one more game, and it is also a TVZ on Blue Shift, but this one will feature actually the Terran player this time is our Ris3n player and our submission.
Spicy.
Spicy, and I know a lot of you guys are looking forward to it. This is Gamerrichy, the one of the, if not the best players in Ris3n, if I'm not mistaken. He is a grandmaster.
Could be a good one.
Oh, I'm counting on it. I am counting on it. And here we are loading on into the game. It looks like, judging by the portraits, this is a Grandmaster Terran versus a Grandmaster Zerg. I'm excited. I'm going to switch us. I'm going to switch us over to our StarCraft screen. And Wrath, can you introduce our players for us?
Of course, I would first advise you go ahead and put your seatbelts on, get seated, get your popcorn ready, get your drink. This is going to be a great game, guys. So on the top right, we have our red Zerg Lurker.
Aptly named. I hope he makes lurkers.
I hope he does. I hope he does. And in the bottom left, we have the blue Terran, Gamerrichy.
So, I haven't seen a lot of Gamerrichy's games. I think I casted him in the Alpha Team League once. And Stillfly told me that a nickname he has amongst some of the opposing players is Stim for the win, or something along those lines, because he is just so damn good at using his bio armies effectively. So, just based off my prior knowledge of the guy, I would expect that we're going to see, a bio-based composition.
Can't go wrong with bio, right? I mean, you just have so much mobility with the medevacs and the Stim Marines and Marauders. Just so quickly can be deployed. You can quickly replenish your lost armies with 10 barracks plus. I can't say I blame him. I love me some Stim Marines.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm sure as a Protoss player that Stimmed Marines are just absolutely your favorite unit.
Oh, they're my favorite. I can tell you that.
So, taking a look at this map, and while we have the time, since it looks like both these guys are opening up fairly standard, how do you think this map would be for bio as compared to mech?
Whew.
That's a tough question.
It's a tough question because, I mean, the middle is pretty much a no-go, right? You've got the ledges on the side. It's just a death trap in there. So any kind of engagement you have is going to revolve around, again, these watchtowers, right? Where you're pressing into, let's say, their third, or over here, their third, depending on which, where you're coming from. A lot of it's going to come depending on that watchtower as you're kind of inching forward. Because again, everything in the middle is just going to be at a huge, huge disadvantage as a mech player or as a Zerg player, especially.
So, just to address a comment in the chat, Aiden asking if we are going to cast SunTzu's game. Unfortunately, we had a bit of a complication, as I mentioned earlier, as his replay is from the old patch, which means I can't watch it with Wrath. But yeah, getting back into this game, it looks like the double spore crawler block to make sure that that Reaper doesn't get any kills, and I feel like that's the mark of a really high caliber Zerg player. You know, when you're literally not even letting the smallest amount of damage get done.
Yeah, I mean, he would gladly trade a few minerals for canceling, a spine crawler versus just straight up losing a drone. Right? Losing a drone, you're not just losing the 50 minerals. It just compounds over the rest of the game as that drone's not mining. And of course, you're losing larva too now that you don't have to remake. A cost well worth paying, canceling your spine crawler.
Absolutely, and I mean, in at the lower levels, those are mistakes that happen. Oh, and he even picks off the first creep tumor. That's wow. That's actually a really big deal. As I was saying though, like these small things when you're at a level that these players are actually big things because you can't count on your opponent making big macro mistakes or running units into banelings or just and more drones
Oh,
going down in the
shoot.
main. Oh, only one,
Yeah, he
only
got
one.
one. He got one drone.
It looks like this Reaper might finally go down. It's actually getting into the natural, and here come two Hellions as
Oh,
well.
Hellions, too.
Whew. Gamerrichy already pulling Lurker all over the place, and the Reaper does go down. The Hellions are driven out, but this is a pretty late initial creep tumor for a macro game.
It is. I mean, I think Gamer did a pretty good job kind of staving that time off, right? Putting that creep tumor, just delaying it, and that's what you want. You just want to take again, like you said, it's a game of interest, right? You really want to try and delay the Zerg players from spreading that creep as much as humanly possible. Later on in the game when you go out and you scout around with your Marines and your comsat station, you gotta scan it, you gotta push that creep back. You do not want to engage Zerg on creep if you can help it.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, it's that speed boost that they gain from the creep just allows whether it's you're going marine tank or you're going mech, it just like those zerglings or roaches or whatever they have just almost teleport onto your army, and whenever a zerg gets a surround, it's a good thing. Meanwhile, here in the main, we've got a liberator coming up. It's going to get one, it's going to get two, it's going to get three, four workers already going down to this liberator.
Perfect usage of a Liberator, man. Such a strong, strong unit. So versatile, so easy to just shift, click around, and just inflict massive damage. Even losing those larvae and now losing those cocoons. I mean, that still counts.
Yeah, I mean, that Liberator, it did go down, but I mean, for a little bit of economy, right? One Liberator isn't going to make the biggest of differences in a push later on. So if you can do anything to slow the Zerg player down from getting to that high economy, high drone count point that they want to be at, is really good. And I think we're seeing that these small things are kind of paying dividends, as Gamerrichy already has 1-1 with the 2 Evo chambers of Lurker not even quite done yet.
And I like the composition that Gamerrichy is going for too. Right? You're gonna see lots of Marines, a few Marauders, of course. We're gonna get the stim. We're gonna get combat shields, of course. Lots of barracks, but also again supported by tanks, right? We're probably sure we see some tanks and Liberators, and that's really the bread and butter of that Terran army, especially against any Zerg player in the higher rankings. It's just such a good zoning army, really.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, though, in the third base, 6 Hellions did dive in, and they all died with only getting 3 drones. So that, I don't think, is the most worthwhile trade, as I think you generally want those Hellions to stick around and push back creep, though he did get some economy from the Zerg to kind of compensate.
Yeah, I mean, of course, he wants to get more drones with him, right? But I mean, that's how it goes, right? I mean, sometimes you can have a really good engagement, and sometimes, it's not going to go exactly the way you want.
Yeah, meanwhile, though, our Zerg player has powered up. He's on 64 drones, which is approximately the amount you want on 3 bases when your 4th is on the way. And the Terran player has landed at the 3rd base and is already almost mineral saturated there. So it looks like we're going to be headed, solidly into the mid game. You know what I mean? Like, the early game is come and gone. Nobody's dealt match-defining damage to each other yet, and we're going to get to see what these guys can do when they have all their tools.
Yeah, they definitely kind of just poked around a little bit, played around, see, kind of testing, sizing up the other play, right? See if they can pick off any units with the Reapers. But here we go. This is exactly what I was talking about. We got some scans coming down. The Marines are going to push that creep back. Here come the Zerglings saying, no, no, no. Where are you going now? And controlling this watchtower for that Zerg player is so good. And Gamerrichy knows that he is going to take down that Zergling, saying, hey, man, get away. I want that vision.
He wants that vision, and almost, I think more importantly, he wants to deny the creep spread, because almost definitely he's going to be wanting to push down that side at some point, and the less creep that there is, the quicker that attack will start shelling away on the actual base. And it looks like we actually have a double drop coming through the middle of the map at the same time as well.
Yeah, once you get to this kind of rankings, I mean, able to do multi-prong attacks is key.
Absolutely. More creep going down on both sides as Gamerrichy is microing 2 sets of 16 Marines pretty effectively as he's taking down Tumors, he's taking down Zerglings. Like, this is the mark of a good Terran when you got 2 big army groups both getting effective damage done at the same time.
Yeah, it is not the easiest thing to micro, right? Because I mean, if you think about how actively Lurker has been spreading creep, really hasn't got much to show for because Gamerrichy has been able to push it back really effectively.
And not only has he pushed it back effectively, he's done so with minimal losses. I mean, he lost some Hellions, which, are a little bit expendable. He's lost a Marine here and there, a few more going down on the right side, but like, these are small losses compared to how shunted the creep spread of the Zerg player really is.
Yeah, and we see an infestation pit going down for Lurker on the top right there. What are we going to see? You're going to see infestors?
I think it's probably just for a quick hive, although still no second gas taken in the main. I think that has to be a small mistake, one that, is very easy to make when there's always Hellions or Liberators or 2 different groups of Marines kind of getting in your face.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure that these players have put on each other has been pretty extreme, right? I mean, it's hard to control, and you make little mistakes like that.
Actually, a fairly decent army as Gamerrichy with the drop baits a decent clump of army into a push that he's doing up on this left side, and a bunch of Zerglings do go down. It looks like there is a decent...
I like what he's doing with those Marines, too. He's just sending a few Marines up early just to kind of poke her head. Doesn't want to risk his whole army to just some bailing bust, right? I mean, he just wants to say, hey, look, I'm going to poke in, and that way he has a better chance to micro out of it.
And honestly, I mean, there's not a fourth... Oh, there is a 4th CC. Is it down or is it going down? I think it might be going down. So a 4th CC is going down. More creep going down in the middle of the map. And Gamerrichy looks like he's kind of put his foot on the gas pedal and he's not slowing down. As, I mean, look at his mineral count. With all this micro going on, not really letting his macro slip at all.
Potentially a big engagement. Lurker decides to pull back. I think it's a wise move.
Absolutely. Does not want to attack into a tank line, although a decent Baneling hit coming up. So many Marines for Gamerrichy, though.
Yeah, meanwhile, we've got a big attack going in for the 4th base. I think he's going to stop it.
Oh, I think he absolutely will get that canceled. He's probably going to try and dive into the natural. Gamerrichy pulling back to try and deal with this. These reinforcements are going to get taken out by this massive counterattack, but here comes the brunt of Gamerrichy's army.
Nice micro against those Banelings. That wall will fall, but his army made it back just in time. That could have been cataclysmic.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you lose your entire natural mineral line, that's a lot of mining you don't have. Although he might be able to hop on these tanks. Well, they're not sieged yet. Banelings crashing in. These tanks do go down, but Marines are microed back effectively and mitigate most of the Banelings before they can get on top of the Marines.
Yeah, but losing those siege tanks was costly. That took
absolutely.
Time. That took minerals. Nice payback. Take down a few of those queens. That's exactly what he needs to try and, repay that debt.
Meanwhile, a counterattack coming into the natural once again, but it looks like Gamerrichy will have enough to push that back. At the same time, he's pushing here into the 3rd base, taking down so many Banelings before they can get any hits off.
Yeah, and you can see right here how much it cost him to lose all those tanks. Could you imagine if he had 3 or 4 tanks instead of just that lonely tank? That base would have fallen by now, or close to it.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a 5 tanks each line is not something that the Zerg player has the army to attack into right now. So I think that we have a decent spot here for Gamerrichy, but at the same time, no fourth base yet. That did get canceled by counterattacks, and 3-3 and Vipers coming up for Lurker. So he's really going to get into the power hive tech that I think he needs.
Gamerrichy does need to expand soon too.
Yeah, it looks like he's stemming in. He might be able to force the issue and take out this base, but I think you're right. He eventually is going to need to get that fourth base up if he wants to sustain this type of aggression.
Yeah, because look here, Zerg. I mean, even if Zerg loses this base down here, which it's looking like they might. Oh man, all that nice back and forth.
Look at these pre-splits from Gamerrichy though. Like, how hard is it going to be to get in on that? On the main bulk of that army, because there really isn't a main bulk of that army. It's all split up, it's all covered by the tank line, and there's just no way for him to defend this base.
Yeah, it's definitely going down, but you know what? I think Lurker's okay with that. Lurker's saying, all right, you take that base, you took some losses while doing it, I've got 2 more on the way.
Smart play, I agree, from Lurker to get those bases up on the other side of the map, though. Gamerrichy is establishing that fourth base, and they're kind of posturing at an attack here. Looks like Lurker is going to try and force the issue. No, he will back out. I think that is a wise move, as so much bio here from Gamerrichy.
Oh, look what Lurker's doing. Lurker is spreading out the army, waiting for a big surround. As we have Gamerrichy kind of, you know, slowly making his way up, we're going to have a complete surround.
Wow, all the Zerg coming in. It's getting shelled by the tanks, but there are still Vipers and so much Ling Bane Hydra coming in. Banelings are getting decent hits, and it looks like this army from Gamerrichy is going to get pushed back. A great evacuation, though, as he manages to save a decent amount of his army, but pulls from the Vipers, managed to snag 2 of the medevacs. Luckily for Gamerrichy, not the ones with bio still in them.
Yeah, he wanted to maximize his damage. Lurker is smelling blood in the water. He's like, look, I killed your army. Those medevacs are running away. Not so fast, big boy.
And I think you're right, as in a minute here, we are going to have +3 melee, +3 carapace, and adrenal glands all finished, which means Ling Bane just got a whole lot better, Wrath.
It did, but the one thing I will point out, even though the Terran player is down on the bases, look at the worker count, 61 to 56, not counting mules. Despite of all this happened, Gamerrichy's economy is actually pretty strong.
Oh, it's very strong. I think he just might need a little bit more time. This Zerg army getting in right before the planetary finishes at the 4th, and it is going to go down, but a huge swell of reinforcements, while at the same time he's pushing into the natural, is going to kill the natural and a bunch of drones, it looks like. Wow, both players really kind of dealing deadly blows, but I mean, if we're gonna look at the supply, I mean, Gamerrichy has the army, especially taking down the Baneling nest, right? Like, I think he has to be at a pretty decent advantage here.
It was an important strike, right? I mean, having lost his 4th yet again right here, that hurt a lot. But you know, he needs to do damage where he can, and taking down that Baneling nest, buying himself some time to prevent the Zerg player from getting more and more Banelings, which are so hard and so micro-intensive to fight against.
Yeah, it looks like this drop over on the right is going to get cleaned up. That's a decent amount of supply. That is lost for Gamerrichy, but at the same time, he's pushing up the left side of the map, taking out creep tumors, and he's making a move on these bases on the left side.
Yeah, he needs to. He needs to inflict damage now. Keep that Zerg economy down, which is actually not looking as impressive as it once did.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a huge army, and let's keep in mind, there are Vipers, but there are no Ultralisks, there are no Broodlords, which means that, you know, yeah, it's going to be a good, you know, tier 2 army for the Zerg, but it's still a tier 2 army with the exception of these Vipers.
Yeah, and Marine Marauders clean up tier 2 pretty well.
Especially as they have that 3-3.
Yeah, and tank coverage.
Oh, here comes a little bit of engagement.
Blitz.
Yeah, already pre-spreading so much of that bio, trading it effectively, making sure that he's not going to get hit by any huge Baneling costs. And keep in mind, there's only 4 Banelings on the map right now, as the Baneling nest is just finishing up.
Look at this.
Oh, huge Baneling hits over at the 4th base, taking out a bunch of them. And here he goes. He might be trying to pounce on the army. Looks like he will back out, though, and maybe try and set up a bigger surround. But I think that taking out that Baneling nest was super important, as you cannot fight this army without Banelings.
No, you have to have, right? You have to have either Banelings or a bunch of Roaches or some sort of high-tech unit. Like, without the Banelings, this Zerg army just doesn't quite stand up to this Terran composition.
Absolutely. It looks like he might try and pounce in on it. The tank's getting pulled in. Blinding Cloud's going down. Gamerrichy kiting back, but I mean, without the number of Banelings, it looks like these Vipers are going to start going down, and there's just not enough Zerg here to fight this massive bio ball.
This is a terrific game.
Yeah, I mean, when I asked for replay submissions, I did not know we were going to get treated to stuff like this, but I am totally okay with it as the Zerg goes back in, drops some Blinding Clouds, but he's dropping in supply as this Terran bio ball looks like it will not be stopped.
Yeah, I know the Banelings come out to roll all over the Terran army, but damage has kind of been done. I mean, the Zerg player being down to just one mining base right now.
So it looks like the medevac count has been severely depleted by these Vipers, so this push will get cleaned up, and we're actually on a really low supply game for being 18 minutes in. Both players are under 100 supply, but I think, you know, when all's said and done, Gamerrichy is the one that has both an economy and a little bit of an army left standing.
Yeah, he's got the production and he's got the economy to support it, right? And meanwhile, the Zerg player is just working really on one base, and just now is getting up that second base down here to try and get some extra minerals. But Gamerrichy's done a really great job at kind of starving out the Zerg player slowly but surely.
Yeah, and just chipping away at that drone count. Taking a look, he's got 27 drones. That's not nearly enough to support replenishing this army. So Gamerrichy looking to make trades that he knows the Zerg player can't replenish on. Banelings crashing in, getting decent hits here. Blinding Clouds going down, tanks getting decent shots, but I just don't think this is enough.
No, it's not. Oh, gosh.
So
I mean, that's the one thing that Lurker has done extremely well, is those abducts on those medevacs. My goodness.
Yeah, he's displayed some excellent Viper control, and honestly, even though he's been on this mid-tier army, he's managed to trade effectively with it, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to stand up to just the raw macro power and micro of, I mean, he was called Stim to win, and he's living up to that name, as he has been pretty masterful with his bio engagements this game.
I mean, both of these players are very, very resilient, right? I mean, how many engagements have we seen now? It's been an incredible amount. Left, right, two here, two there, and they're still going.
Oh, already a drop coming down here at, I guess it's the third base of the Zerg player. There's nothing in position, and this is mining that he cannot afford to lose. He's trying to get around, losing more and more units, and when you're on this low economy, every unit counts.
Yeah. Nice positioning on those Marine and Marauders, too. Right between the geyser and the mineral lines. Just really preventing the Zerglings from kind of surrounding that Marine Marauder army.
Absolutely. I mean, hyper efficiency when you get in that position, though. It looks like, oh, will he get a pull off? No, it looks like this might escape. Will it escape? It's the question of the day. Will this medevac escape? Oh, and it boosts away. Phew.
Phew. Game was on the line, man. Game was on the line on that medevac.
I mean, let's take a look. That is, I guess he does still have 4 medevacs, so that's not the end of the world. But I mean, that's a relatively low medevac count for this stage in the game. But he's looking to force the issue on this base up here, pre-spreading his bio, taking out some of these banelings, and I think that Lurker has to fight to defend this base, Wrath.
Yeah, he does. He can't lose this base. He knows it. He's taking too many concessions already as it is, and it's not looking good. Blind Cloud is going down. Hydralisks are fighting. The Zerglings are fighting, but there are 4 medevacs here.
And the bio holds strong, Wrath. All these Lings, all these Banes, all these Hydras, all these drones going down to this relentless bio pressure, and the base will also fall, and that's GG.
Called. Revolt, what a game, man. This was fun. This was a good game.
Yeah, I have to harass Gamerrichy into sending us more of his replays, because holy cow, was that an exciting match.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
Yeah, wow. That was well played by both players, though. I mean, you can definitely clearly tell they're both, I mean, Grandmasters. I mean, there's no way around it, right? Both players clearly are. That was a lot of fun.
Ooh, we have an update in my Twitch chat. SunTzu StarCraft says, I'm sending you a replay now, Revolt. So how do you feel about maybe impromptuingly adding another game to our list here?
Yeah, what the hell? Let's do it.
Awesome. So I am going to put on our overlay, as it will take a minute for me to get that into the format that we can watch it together. So stay tuned, everyone. We'll be back shortly with a SunTzu match after all. So hello everybody, thank you for bearing with us. We are back and we have an impromptu submission here from SunTzu, as we had a little bit of an issue with his initial submission, but here we are ready with a kind of spur of the moment submission. So thank you, SunTzu, for being ready with a submission. And Wrath, this is our
big thanks too for providing a Protoss player. I mean, finally get a proper race to play in this
that's
game. I'm tired of all this
exactly
ZVP stuff.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Rav. As I know I've dabbled in random, but we're both Protoss players at our best, and this is going to be our first time getting an actual Protoss to cast. So
Finally, and it's against Confed too, right? I mean, everyone knows the Confed.
Yeah.
Confederacy. I think this should be a pretty good one. SunTzu, I hope this is a good game, man. I hope he sticks it to you.
Well,
speaking from a Protoss player.
I mean, absolutely. I think this is actually the player that SunTzu faced in the VTL Finals Ace match. And he, if I'm remembering correctly, I think this is the same person, so I could be wrong. But if I'm remembering correctly, SunTzu played this guy in the VTL Grand Finals to retain our crown. And he stuck it to him. He trounced him, and he's the reason that Ris3n is two-time VTL champions right now.
Nice job, too. You gotta think about that. I mean, how cool is that? I know it's just for our Diamond League players, but still, man. Every league has its place, and well done, SunTzu. Well done, everybody. Well done, Revolt. Hell, myself. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good job, Ris3n.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice for us to assert our dominance as a clan, as everybody knows that Ris3n is the best clan in the world, of course.
Of course.
So we are loaded on in. I'm going to switch us over to the StarCraft screen and introduce our players for us, Wrath.
Absolutely. In the top, top right. I was going to say top left. I'm like, what the hell am I talking about? Top right, we have the purple Protoss, the Travi.
The Travi. The
Travi. Man, I got to get better with these names. This is pretty embarrassing. In the bottom left, we have our light blue, baby blue SunTzu. Sporting the baby blue trunks. Our baby blue Zerg player. Here we go, SunTzu. See what you can do, baby.
Well, he may be in the baby blue, but there's nothing babyish about his play, and already take a look at what our Protoss is doing, Raph. What do you think?
What is this? What's this nonsense? What? Oh, is he? Wait a minute. So is he cannon rushing, or is he going to try and just nexus like cannon
Well,
spam? Like,
okay,
what is
so
he doing?
he pylon blocks at the natural, which leads me to believe that this is not a classic cannon rush, right? Because if you're cannon rushing, you want them to 15 hatch, no? Or 17 hatch, sorry.
I guess so, but I mean, SunTzu's not
And
taking the bait.
he already got a drone up in the natural. He sees that forage, and let's keep in mind, SunTzu is known to play a lot of games with his good friend Jaden, and anybody that played Jaden knows Jaden is the master of the cannon rush. So I pity the fool that will try and cannon rush SunTzu, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be a pro against the cannon rush. If anything, I want to credit Jaden to lately my game against cannon rushes too has improved because of him. I mean, he cannon rushes every single time, and he's actually very good at it.
And huge drone pool coming out here from SunTzu. It looks like he is going
Oh,
to, I believe,
yeah.
transfer that over to the third base. Okay, so I think that looks a little bit silly, but I think it makes sense, right? Because think about it. If he's got all these drones here, that means that this third base will not get cannon rushed, and now he can keep building drones into his main and have that second base already fully mining, without having to worry about having to rally past that cannon.
I mean, it certainly is unorthodox. I'll give you that.
But I mean, I think it's kind of a spur of the moment play that makes sense.
Yeah, it's definitely not the worst thing I've ever seen. That's for dang sure. I kind of like it. I mean, you're dividing the attention, right? I mean,
I think our Protoss player here also recognizing the slight absurdity of this opening.
yeah, I mean, it definitely is. I mean, what? Okay, now the Zerglings come out. Okay, so any cannon rush at this point,
It's over.
that ship
It's
has
over.
sailed, right? I mean, that ship has sailed.
Yeah,
But I mean,
no.
that's okay. I mean, the drone worker count is still almost exactly equal. Protoss is putting up its natural base about halfway there, getting up its cybernetics core. Okay. Okay.
So I think that this might just kind of, as sometimes really crazy games do, like even out into like, okay, well, we started like full on Crazy Town. And then, since we were both Crazy Town, it kind of levels out into like a fairly standard game.
It's so hard to kind of revert back to your build. Like, I mean, I'd say most of us go into a game. We're like, okay, this is what I want to do this match. This is what I want to do this game. But then you get cannon rush. Then this happens, and then you completely get thrown out of, for a loop. And then you try to figure out, okay, I need to figure out how to pull back into my game plan, what I wanted to do, or how do you react? What is your suggestion for this Protoss player now that the cannon rush hasn't completely quite gone the
So
way you want?
I think he's gotten himself into a position where, you know, he has his options available to him. We see he's going robo. He has a forage. He can get fast +1. I think he could throw down a bunch of gates, get a war prism, and maybe do a fast gateway push. But I mean, at the same time, it looks like SunTzu is content to stay on 2 bases. He's got a lair coming up. He's got a Roach Warren. So I'm not exactly sure what we're going to see from this position.
Unknown territory. Unknown territory.
We in unknown waters now. Tread lightly.
Yes, we are. I kind of like to see Travi, I kind of like to see him pump out a couple of Immortals, maybe get a War Prism, and then try to see if he can do some worker harassment with that. Especially now that we see SunTzu going with Roaches, he might be able to get some work done.
Absolutely. And I mean, he's already got 1 Immortal almost done, and it's something like that is a 2 for, right? Because not only do you get some, if you micro correctly, free damage done, right? Because you should never lose any of those units with the War Prism.
No.
But you also get a decent chance at scouting out what the heck your opponent's doing. And in a game like this, it's not always easy to see what your opponent's doing.
No, information is key. You absolutely want to know. Second Immortal is being produced. SunTzu is moving out to Queens, trying to threaten those cannons.
Are you checking the production tab, Wrath? Do you see what SunTzu is building?
Oh my God.
It's his patented Nidus worm, and I'll tell you what, SunTzu loves his Nidus worms, and he is really good at using them. It looks like this is going to be, especially with 2 more queens on the way, there's already 4 queens out. It looks like he's going to try and do a Roach Queen Nidus, which that can be really devastating, although there are already Immortals out for the Travi.
Yeah, and he's going to push out with them too. And look at this pylon placement. I mean, if he's going to try and do the Nidus placement, Travi's got a pylon right there. He's got to see this, right?
Well, let's take a look from Travi's perspective. It looks like he has noticed it, but his army is across the map, and he just now has enough energy to recall. It'll be interesting to see whether or not he does. The Nidus Swarm finishes, and the Queens start to come out, and here come the transfuses. This is going to be a huge attack from SunTzu, as he's already targeting down these pylons.
Oh man, if I feel for the Protoss player. This is one of those oh crap moments.
Huge
right? I mean,
deep power on those gateways. It looks like he does have a War Prism. It's not joining the fight, but a few Immortals, Sentries, Stalkers, and Zealots coming in here. He's going to try and focus down the Nidus Worm. He will get it, but at what cost? As his units are starting to get surrounded, it looks like he might clean this up with some decent force fields, but he's lost 17 probes, Wrath. You can't afford to lose that much economy.
No, that hurt.
And another Nidus Worm coming up into the main. I don't know if he's really going to be able to get much out of it, because the Travi has to be able to see it, but what a great attack here from SunTzu, absolutely devastating the economy of the Protoss.
He can see it, but he can't produce out of it. He's got no powered up gateways.
Yeah.
He's stuck with what he has.
So he does deflect that attack, but I mean, looking at the game state now, SunTzu is free to take a 3rd base if he wants to. He's cleared out, I think it was 22 probes. He depowered the gateways, which slows down a potential counterattack, right? He's sitting pretty.
Well, I agree with you, but I think the only real chance that Travi has is to counterattack with everything he has right now, including the War Prism, and just stick it to SunTzu. That's his only chance at this point.
Well, the War Prism has gone across the map, although there is a Nidus Worm coming up trying to cancel this 3rd base, so it looks like we're going to see a little bit of attacking on both sides. 3 Adepts warped in. This Nidus Worm will get killed as it comes out, but...
And those Nidus Worms are not free.
No, they're not. 100. And, you know, when you don't have 3rd base mining up yet, that is a decent deal. Here come 3 Adepts shading into the 3rd base while the War Prism heads into the natural. They are targeting down on drones. They're going to get, it looks like, at least 3, 4 going down. That War Prism hasn't morphed in anything else, but another Nidus Worm coming into the natural here.
I mean, SunTzu's nothing if not relentless.
It's true.
He is going to make this Nidus Worm work. He is going to finish this game with the Nidus Worm. He's already decreed this. There's no way around it.
And that army for the Protoss is wildly out of position, as here comes... Oh, it's recalling. I think that is a smart maneuver, as it looks like a few probes will go down, but Lings are still streaming in, but he might be able to hold strong here, as he has force fields and Immortals. So many Queens and Lings, though. A Sentry gets picked off.
And look at that energy, too. All that transfuse energy.
Ravagers and Roaches joining the fray. Here come these Biles that will take down some of these force fields, but the Queen's starting to go down, but so many Lings at the same time. This is really a weird fight given the positioning of the buildings, but I think the Zerg player might just have enough to get on top of this.
Oh man, I think SunTzu is definitely sighing a little bit of relief here with the damage he's done.
Ooh, 11 more probes.
To use the probes to try and defend. That's never a good sign.
11 more probes, all the Immortals, and I think 1 or 2 of the Sentries going down. At the same time, there are Adepts across the map, but they're attacking a Roach. That's not what they want to be targeting, and it looks like they will be cleaned up. Although he might have, during that crazy fight, canceled the natural, it looks like. We were distracted by that huge fight. That must have gone down.
I know I certainly was. I was definitely eyeing that huge Nidus Swarm attack that SunTzu was laying on this Protoss player. Poor guy.
Even though he's on the other team, Wrath can't help but empathize with the Protoss, and another Nidus Swarm.
Christmas. Here we go again.
Here we go again.
If it doesn't work the first, second, or third time, my gosh, it certainly will work the 8th time. Let's stick it to him. Put that Nidus Swarm in the base.
Here,
horses swarming out.
Although not a lot of units coming out, it looks like the Travi will be able to clean this up. I think loading that Ravager back up into the Nidus, which is, I believe, the correct move, as, you know, units coming out one at a time, we're not going to be able to deal with that army.
Yeah, no, and not, especially if they're force fielded into their own Nidus canal, right? I mean, that's not going to work.
So let's actually take a minute to look at this game, right? The worker count is 33 for SunTzu versus 38 from the Travi. This whole time, that third base is still up, which means he can get a decent amount of economy going, and Charge and Templar Archives and an Immortal are on the way. So he is on the path to getting a very scary army.
If he survives these Ravagers, hello.
If he survives these Ravagers, hello indeed. Looks like we have 10 Ravagers and a bunch of Roaches busting into the main, biling down this Nexus. I said he had a third base, but he won't have one for much longer, as these Roaches and Ravagers say, no, I'm on 2 base, you're on 2 base.
Oh no, and those Archons are warping in. Oh, this is not the best time. Good force fields, though.
Oh, those bios taking out a bunch of sentries, and that is going to be the rest of the force fields as they get biled down. More bios coming in. The Roach Ravager coming in, getting more bios onto the gateway units. There are 2 Archons. One's going to go down. More Lings joining the fight. The Immortal dies. It looks like the second Archon will die, and I think SunTzu might have just broken him.
Dude, those were the best bios I've seen in, like, I don't know, months? Those bios did so much damage to that Protoss player. I mean, the Travi knows it. I mean, he's clapping at him. He knows what happened. He's like, look, I mean, you got it. You earned it. What did he kill? Like 4 sentries with it, a few Templars?
Yeah.
I mean,
those were the money bios that SunTzu was looking for, and he certainly got them.
Yeah, he did.
So actually a little bit of a Zealot counterattack going on across the map, taking out a Queen, but I mean, just nothing compared to the damage, and GG is called, and SunTzu takes a really, really crazy, but really, really fun to watch map.
Well, here's that word again. A really cheeky win with a dang Nidus Canal, right? I mean, gosh.
Well, and I'll tell you what, and this is something I've noticed from watching a decent amount and playing a decent amount of games with SunTzu, is that, you know, a lot of players, if they go for a bit of a Nidus all-in or a Nidus heavy pressure, they will, if the first Nidus fails, be like, okay, I need to transition. You know, they know there's Nidus. I can't do it again. SunTzu's not afraid to say, okay, I Nidused him on one side. Now I'm immediately going to Nidus the third, and then I'll Nidus back again in the main. And I think that's something that a lot of Zerg players overlook, is the value you can get out of having that kind of mobility over time.
Yeah, and you're committed to the tech, in my opinion. At least a little bit you are, right? You've already got the Nidus network up. You might as well continue to push if you can. Keep the Protoss player, like, guessing, oh, okay, where is the worm coming now? Where is it coming now? If you just give up, and then, you know, the Protoss player main army comes down your throat, I mean, that's not what the Zerg player wants at that point. You want to keep the Protoss player off. You're just not exactly where they want. They don't know where to defend. You got to use that mobility to your advantage. That's exactly what SunTzu did. He just kept at it, finally got the job done.
Absolutely, and I would like to again thank SunTzu. That game was not initially in our lineup, but with the technical issues we had with his first submission, he was very much kind enough to submit that kind of on the fly and give us, I don't know, I felt really good about that 3-game kind of feel. You know what I mean, Raph?
Yeah, I mean, we got a pretty good, you know, spread of skill and race matchups as well. I would like to see some mirror matchups, maybe the next go around, but really anything. I mean, those were some really fun games. Gamerrichy's, Jay's game. I mean, it's good to see them. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, we had a diversity. To be fair, no, I guess there was a Terran. We had a diversity of racial submissions. We had a diversity of level of play submissions, which I don't think is a bad thing. I mean, I think StarCraft is a beautiful game, no matter what level you're watching, because it's just a different dynamic. And I would encourage anybody that's watching either live or through the VOD to, you know, hit the ladder, get some good replays, send them to me or Wrath, and tell your friends, because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Wrath, but we're looking for submissions, be it team games, be it, you know, practice, be it ladder, right? We want fun StarCraft games to cast for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's fun for us. I like doing this. I mean, this is something I'd like to get into a little bit more, and if nothing else, it helps us all, right? right? I mean, this is good for the clan. This is good for us all as players as we're kind of analyzing some of these games. Not everything has to be a cast. Sometimes, perhaps, Revolt and I, and I'm sure you're down with this, I would think. Sometimes maybe we could do like a technical analysis, something where we can try to point out, okay, well, what is this player potentially thinking at this point? Where we can pause the game, kind of look at the game state. That's something we could potentially do down the road as well. So keep them sending, man. If you get some ladder plays out there, hit the ladder, save some of the really good ones, and send them in. Don't be afraid to.
That's a great point, Wrath, that I hadn't even thought of. But say you're a gold or a platinum or even a low diamond level player, especially if you're a Protoss. But even if you're not, or if it's first Protoss, right? Like, I know that I would, and like Wrath just said, he of course is more than willing to take a more technical approach to a game, so we could mix it up, have some fun casts, as we had 3 extremely fun casts today, but also give a little bit more of an analytical approach to a game and say, like, all right, we're not just going to cast this, we're going to cast it, we're going to pause it, and we're going to look at, improvements, changes, mistakes, and all the things that make you a better StarCraft 2 player.
Absolutely. I'd like to see it happen. If that's something you guys would like to see, please let us know. Approach me or Revolt at any point in the Discord chat on StarCraft, where have you. Let us know. Let us know what you'd like to see. I just have fun with it, right? I mean, that's what this is all about.
Absolutely, and I mean, just to get our plugs in there, we will have this coming Saturday, and actually, I don't even think you know this, Wrath. So this is an
What am I doing? What
announcement.
am I doing?
Well, I mean, of course you know this coming Saturday we have week 2 of the Ris3n show match series.
Indeed.
But
Where Spore is going to be defending his title.
He will be defending his title, and here on this cast, I am able to announce who he'll be defending it against, as we kind of threw out some names, but I was able to connect with a player and set it up, and it is going to be Bizarro going up against Spore.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, he said he's going to look into some builds, so if you're out there, Spore, Bizarro's gunning for you, and
you better watch it.
You better watch it. I played both of them in the RDIL, and I'll tell you what, those were 2 of my tougher matches overall. Was because Bizarro, he's true to his name, right?
That's exactly what I was
he's
thinking.
True
he's true
to his name, right? He's not afraid to throw the craziest stuff you've seen this week at you, and I mean, I'll be honest. I think I won the match, but both of the games I was like, what's happening? What's happening? Like, oh God, what do I do? You know what I mean? He's a fun player to watch.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not against saying, hey, I'm going to put this Nexus right here in the corner of the map. Is there a connection to it? No, I'm just going to put it there because I feel like it.
And now it's there.
And now it's there. And then you keep wondering, you fight them, you're like, wait, what? Where's all this money coming from? What? Oh, and you watch the replay, and then it dawns upon you that you've been bizarroed, right? I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Oh, absolutely. So, I think we will be signing off for the evening. I'm gonna play our intro just to play us out once again because I made it, and I think it's a little bit badass. But that's all from me. Wrath, you got any words for the people before we sign off?
Yes. Drink your milk, brush your teeth, and watch our replays.
Those are the big 3, right? All right, thanks very much, everybody. I will play our intro, but we are off for the night. Have an excellent evening. From Ris3n Revolt, have a good night.